Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Dharma with Streaming Diamond Sutra 101. I'm Venerable Jue Qian, and in this course, I will be the one to share with you about this Diamond Sutra, and we can have more discussions on the teachings of Diamond Sutra. There are 8 classes for the course, and I hope that all of you are able to complete these 8 classes. The reason is because if you miss one of the class, and you go to another class, you might not be able to understand the teachings, as the sutra will be going further and further to explore the teachings of non-binding, non-attachment, emptiness, and the ultimate teachings of the Buddha regarding about impermanence. So it is important for us to complete these 8 classes. And today is the first class. I would like to start with some mindset preparations, and also to have a brief introductions about the sutra before we actually get into the essential teachings in the Diamond Sutra. This part is very important because a lot of the people that start to recite or learn about Diamond Sutra, they always get confused. The reason is because if they attend the basic Buddhism class, the Buddha taught about the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, and the dependent origination. Everything is related to our life and it looks real. But in this sutra, it explores deeper, further, and beyond. So in this sutra, some of the teachings in this sutra might have some conflicts with what we learn when we start to learn about Buddhism, the basic teachings in Buddhism. However, this is the teachings that the Buddha wants us to achieve in order to liberate out from the circle of birth and death. And those teachings, like Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, are the tools for us to achieve these ultimate teachings. And that's the reason why, before I introduce to you about the teachings in the Diamond Sutra, I would like all of you to do some adjustment in your thinking. Try not to attach to the basic teachings yet. You have to have the background of the basic teachings, but now we are going further of these basic teachings to understand the ultimate teachings from the Buddha. Okay, so I'm going to show you the slides, and in between we will start to discuss further. So this is the first class of Diamond Sutra 101. The books that we will be using are this book, 4 Insights for Finding Fulfillment. This is a book that's written by Venerable Master Xing Yun in Chinese, but translated into English. And also, is a translation, another book is the translation of the Diamond Sutra, which I will be using this sutra for the entire 8 classes. You can get this book from Foguang Buddhist International Translation Center, or you can go to this website to download the PDF file. So for some of the members, I already give you the PDF file. For those that do not have it, please go to download this PDF file so that you can follow the teachings in these 8 classes. Okay, so in here, before we want to know about the classes or the teachings, first of all, you have to ask yourself, why do I attend this class? What is the purpose of attending this so-called Diamond Sutra class? This is the Diamond Sutra. Think about it. Why? Why I spend every week from 7:30 to 8:30 to attend this class? What is the purpose? Think about it. You just attend this class for curiosity. You attend this class for just knowing about it. You attend this class because you want to have a debate with the teacher. What are you looking for? So, before we start anything, please ask yourself, why do you attend this class? What is the purpose for you to attend this class? What are you searching for? And what is the thing that you would like to achieve or get? This is very important. If you have a reason, an objective, then you will have the intention to explore further in these teachings. You must have something for you to keep going on. It's just like the Buddha. He wants to find a way to stop suffering, which are the old age, sickness, and death. Of course, more. And that's why he started his journey for searching for the truth in this phenomenal world, and also our own self. He wants to find a way to stop the suffering that we, all of us, have to experience it. That is his goal. He's very clear, and he explored into different people's teachings. When he realized that this is still not the ultimate teachings, so he looked further. He wanted to get deeper and also beyond the teachings he got from his teacher. So start with a reason. Ask yourself, why? Why? What is the objective and the goal in learning the sutra? And you will understand the sutra, and you know when to let go after you understand the sutra. So again, when I teach any of the Dharma classes, I always ask the student, at this point of time, put away your glass of water. Put away first. And then take empty glasses and pour the new water into these glasses, this glass. And then you ask yourself, what did I get from this class? So this is something that I would like all of you to start with, this mindset before we go into the teachings. Now the learning objective. What is your learning objective? And I would like to share with you is that in my class, I'm not teaching in an academic way. I'm not just teaching for knowledge. I'm teaching about self-cultivation. So if you are coming here for academic knowledge, just for knowledge purpose, it might not be a class that's suitable for you. But you are attending this class for your self-cultivation, then this is a class that's suitable for you. And this is the class that you have to learn something. Learn something in what? Applying the teachings in the Diamond Sutra into your daily life. So before you apply it, you have to appreciate it. If you don't appreciate it, how will you apply it in your daily life? And before that, you have to find ways to understand it. Understand the sutra. So have a deeper understanding of the Buddhist terminology used in the sutra. There will be a lot of terminology. A lot of terminology in this sutra. And I will introduce to you this terminology and have a deeper understanding of the core teachings in the Diamond Sutra. So, learning objective is very important. If you learn it for academic or merely for knowledge, I didn't apply it in your daily life, you will still feel the suffering and unable to liberate out. So because you're not focusing on the cultivation, you're not focusing on the cultivation in your daily life or in your practice. If you learn something and have nothing related to our life, then what is the point of sitting here, listen to a monk talking about impermanence, about emptiness, about non-abiding? For members that are seriously in practice or self-cultivation, and you don't apply it in your daily life, again, what is the point of learning? Buddhism is a very practical religion or philosophy. Buddha is a very practical person. All his teachings is about our life. And his goal is very simple. How can he share with us the way in liberate out from suffering, and even to liberate out from the circle of birth and death? This is very clear. That's the point. So I always say that for those people that learn sutra just for academic and keep asking academic questions, but not questions about cultivation or practice, it is very disappointed and very difficult to communicate with them, because cultivation is not so straightforward. Our life is not so straightforward, right? Don't you think so? Therefore, appreciate and understand the sutra. When you appreciate and understand the sutra, you will want to learn this sutra because you want to learn something in order to live a better life. Now, we have to start with some basic understanding on the historical background of the Diamond Sutra. This is also very important. Don't get into the sutra so fast. Get some understanding on the background of this sutra. But this background of this sutra will not be something for you to get confused or keep asking the academic questions, because nobody knows what happened during that time. We can only trying to learn the teachings in the sutra rather than keep digging into the effect. Again, I will need to emphasize, we learn this sutra for our cultivation and use in our daily life. We are not doing research. The teachings is more important. So please focus on the teachings. Okay. Before we start to look into these wordings, I have a few explanations on the Sanskrit wording here. The first one is this, Prajna Paramita. Prajna Paramita means perfect wisdom. But this wisdom, Prajna, is not the same definition in the Western linguistic understanding. So I will explain further in another class, but just remember this terminology called Prajna Paramita. Means the perfect wisdom, the perfect enlightenment, the perfect awakening. So Prajna means transcend level of wisdom, not the wisdom of, not knowledge of wisdom. You are able to see the ultimate truth of this phenomenal world. So phenomenal world means that the world that we are living in. But it's not just what you see. It's what you see through what you see and see the ultimate truth. Paramita means success, crossing from this shore to the other shore, and it's the perfect tranquility of nirvana. So Prajna, so-called wisdom. Paramita means the shore to another shore. And sunyata, please remember this term, sunyata. They translate into emptiness, which is not a very good translation, but we still can't find a very good translation. But in simple to explain means that the changing all the time has no unchanged entity, means impermanent. Means impermanent. Sunyata means impermanent. Because it's impermanent, there's no permanent entity. That's why that is empty. You can't say that there's this thing here forever. So Prajna Paramita, please remember it. Sunyata, please remember it. Prajna, please remember. And Paramita, please remember. Okay. So the Diamond Sutra is one of the most revered texts of Mahayana Buddhism and a jewel of the world's religious literature. You might not find this Diamond Sutra in the Theravada traditions. So if you say that, Venerable, why can't I find this text in the Theravada traditions? Because it's two different directions of teachings. Two different directions of teachings. And you will explore it, you will understand it when you continue the class. The Diamond Sutra is part of a large canon of early Mahayana sutras called the Prajna Paramita Sutra, a very big canon. Prajna Paramita means perfect of wisdom, perfect of enlightenment, perfect of awakening. In Mahayana Buddhism, the perfections of wisdom is the realization or direct experience of sunyata, which in the Western country translate as emptiness. It actually means that there's no fixed entity, no fixed, and it changed all the time. The sutra's title in Sanskrit means Prashna Chitika Prashna Paramita. Could be very roughly translated as the Diamond Cutting Profession of Wisdom Sutra. So the diamond is a very hard type of things. It can cut through a lot of things. So in order to cut through certain things, we need this tool called diamonds to cut it off. So this is something that a historical background about this Diamond Sutra. So if somebody asks you, is that where does this Diamond Sutra comes from? You can say that, oh, it's a part of the big canon in the early Mahayana Sutra called Prashna Paramita Sutra. It is a Mahayana Buddhism type of text. If somebody asks you about Theravada, that is a different question. So, historical background. Mahayana Buddhist legend says that the Prashna Paramita were dictated by the historical Buddha to various disciples. They were then hidden for about 500 years after the Buddha passed away and only discovered when people are ready to learn from them. Scholars believe they were written in India beginning in the 1st century BCE and continuing for a few more centuries. For the most part, the oldest surviving versions of these texts are Chinese translation that date from the early 1st millennium CE. So this is something I would like to emphasize more. In here, basically is a teaching or was a teachings by the Buddha, and it was transmitted to the disciple generation to generation. And the disciple tried to remember these teachings. But of course, everybody has different understanding in what the Buddha tried to teach. So when it starts to transmitted from generation to generation, there will be some changes in the teachings. So nobody actually can say that it is exactly what the Buddha taught. Also, nobody can say that this is completely not what the Buddha taught. What we can say is that it is a compilation of the teachings taught by the Buddha. And the monastic get together and compile it, recite it, or record it, and pass from generation to generation. And in the Indian Mahayana traditions, they regard these teachings as the ultimate teachings from the Buddha. And you might ask me, Venerable, what is Mahayana? A simple explanation, Mahayana means big vehicle, not just for own liberation, but also help others to liberate. So when we look into this sutra, don't just look into the academic perspective. The teachings in the sutra is more important than the source from where, because it still transmits from monastic to monastic. So, scholars believe the original text of the Diamond Sutra was written in India, sometime in the 2nd century CE. Again, scholar believe, just believe, nobody knows when. Kumarajiva is believed to have made the first translations in Chinese in 401 CE. And the Kumarajiva text seems to be the one most often translated into English. So from the Sanskrit translated into Mandarin, and from Mandarin translated into this English. Sorry. So in here, the sutra was considered a Mahayana text translated from Sanskrit into Chinese or Mandarin by a Kuchan Buddhist monk called Kumarajiva around 401 CE in Chang'an. This great translator, you have to remember him because he translated a lot of the texts from Sanskrit or Prakrit or Pali into the Mandarin or Chinese. And from the Chinese, people, Western scholar or Western practitioner translated it into this English. And in the Chinese text, the first translated Mahayana text called the Ashta Sangharika Prajna Paramita, called the Guozhou Dao Xing Jing, Guorue Dao Xing Jing, in 179 CE. The first translator called Kumarajiva Kucha, the time is 400 in Chang'an. So besides Kumarajiva as the great translator, there are several later translations exist. So translation is just not one type of translation, just one. Many people translated it. And because of different time, the sutra from India or the Eastern Asia country, they brought in the sutra into Chang'an. Different people will start to translate as well. So the Diamond Sutra was again translated from Sanskrit into Chinese by many people, such as Buddhiruchi in 509, Paramataha in 558, Dharmakutta in this area, and he translated 2 times. We keep revising it, different edition. And Xuanzang, which is also a very important translator, and the Chinese translating master. He also translated 2 times, keep editing it in this 2 period of time, and Yi Jing in 703. So I remember somebody did ask me is that, remember which translation is the best translation? And I always ask him is that, which person in this world is the best person in this world? To you, this person might be the best, but to another person, this person is not the best. So how can I say that which translation is the best translation? And in the English translation, there are also many English translators that translated the Diamond Sutra into English. So there are a few of them are the most famous translator. From Chinese to English is Professor Charles Miller. He's a professor, very famous professor. From Sanskrit to English is Edward Coase. Tibetan to English, Michael Roach, and many more translations. If you want to see all this translation, you can go to Google and just search for the Diamond Sutra translator. You will see it. So in here, the essence of the Diamond Sutra, the teachings, the core teachings of the Diamond Sutra. Let me reiterate and I will do explanation about this. Diamond Sutra, see the diamonds that cut through the illusion. So the keyword here is the illusion. Why we need the diamond? The diamond is a very hard material. Why can't we use a knife? Why can't we use a knife? Why do we need a diamond? So please search into the nature of diamond. What is the element in the diamond? What is the nature of the diamond? How can diamond cut through illusion? Why do we need diamond? The verses in the Diamond Sutra address the nature of reality and the activity of Bodhisattva. So the teachings in the Diamond Sutra focus into two areas: nature of reality and the activities of the Bodhisattva. So it's not the activities of the monastic. Over the years of its existence, people have been studying it, reciting it in ritual assembly and daily practices. In the Chinese Buddhist tradition, a lot of people use the Diamond Sutra as their own cultivation paths and also their way of practice. So in Buddhism, it's considered a very important text. Diamond Sutra is to understand. It is one of the Prajnaparamita, perfection of wisdom sutra. These sutras are associated with the second turning of the diamond wheel. The significance of the second turning is the development of the doctrine of sunyata and the ideal of the Bodhisattva, who brings all beings to enlightenment. So this is the key things. It's the teachings of the sunyata, how to develop the sunyata or understand the sunyata, and also the Bodhisattva that vow to attain enlightenment, ultimate enlightenment. So here I do some explanation. I mentioned earlier is that the key words is illusion. What is illusion? What is the illusion in our life? Our perceptions or notions of everything around us, including ourselves. We think that everything, including us, ourselves, are real. Because we think that it's real, that's why we have the uncomfortable feeling or comfortable feeling. We think that it's unchangeable. It's always there. Unfortunately, it's not. It's not. We are not real. If we are real, then we won't grow up. We're always a baby. If we are real, we won't get old, and then we won't die. But if you hit me, or if I hit you, you feel the pain. I can't say that when I hit you, no pain. You still feel the pain. This pain might last for 1 minute, 1 hour, 8 hours. 3 days. But after that, the pain is gone, right? The physical pain is gone, but the memory of this pain is here, and it keeps changing. It keeps changing as well. It will get lighter and lighter because you start to forget about it unless this pain is really something that hurts you. So we want this to be real. We want this to be always there because we want it. So we think that it's real. And when it change, arrive, we suffer, we feel unhappy. Another thing, the sutra talks about the nature of reality. What is the nature of reality? The nature of reality. Let me share this screen again. Let me share this screen again. The nature of reality and the activities of Bodhisattva. What is the nature of reality? Think about it. What is the nature of reality? You learned it before in your English Dharma class. You learned about the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, and the Three Dharma Seal. So what is the nature of reality? Think about the Three Dharma Seal. Think about it. Learning of the teaching in Buddhism is to think. When you learn something, you learn about the Three Dharma Seal, you have to think. You have to contemplate. And it applies in your life. Another thing about this sutra is the activities of the Bodhisattva. What is Bodhisattva? The one that delay their enlightenment because they vow to help beings to liberate out from the suffering or the circle of birth and death. So this is Bodhisattva. This sutra is talking about what this Bodhisattva are doing and also what kind of mentality they have when they are in the path of helping people. So this, remember it. The sutra talks about the nature of reality and focus on the Bodhisattva activities. And these activities talks about how do we help people, or how do the Bodhisattva help people in their vow. What kind of mentality they should have. So this is very important. Okay. Let me share the screen again. So I repeat again, illusion. Always remember this term illusion because you will, in the teachings of the sutra, you will keep hearing about the discussions about illusion and reality. And it also discusses about the activities of the Bodhisattva and the mentality of the Bodhisattva. Mentality of the Bodhisattva. And in here, in the last, this Diamond Sutra is to understand the Prashaparamita, but in here says that this sutra are associated with the second turning of the diamond wheel. Then you will ask me, remember, what is the first turning of the Dharma wheel? The first turning of the Dharma wheel is the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths is the reality of this phenomenal world, of us, the reality of suffering, the reality of cause of suffering. This is the reality. And the Buddha gave us the advice on how to reduce the suffering. Path leads to end of suffering. You have to reduce it. And when you completely let go, it's the time that you achieve nirvana, the end of suffering. And in the second turning of the Dharma wheel, the Buddha goes deeper to teach about the ultimate nature of this phenomenal world and reach to the understanding of the non-phenomenal world. This we will talk in the future class. So let's talk about the sunyata and also the nature or ideal of the Bodhisattva, of the Bodhisattva. So in here, remember these few important points. These are the key point, the important teachings in the Diamond Sutra. First, cut off illusion. Cut off the illusion, the illusion understanding in our mind. Second, this sutra talks about the prajna paramita, the perfection of wisdom. So this sutra is not teachings about suffering, path of suffering. This teachings is teaching us how to practice beyond the understanding of suffering. And this beyond is the prajna. The prajna means the understanding, but it's a beyond type of understanding or enlightenment. It's beyond, or I should say transcend type of understanding for what we see, what we feel now in this phenomenal world. Not permanence and not impermanent. And the phenomenal world is not permanent, but at the same time, it's also not impermanent. And then why? It's not right, it's not left, then what is that? If it's not right or wrong, if there's no right or wrong is also wrong, right or wrong is also right, then what is right or wrong? Understand the truth of this phenomenal world. This understand is not what we see now. It's beyond what we see, beyond what we hear, beyond what we feel. It's beyond. And that's why it's called the truth. But this truth is also not the truth. It's also beyond not the truth. You might say that, Venerable, it's very difficult to understand what you're saying. It's very difficult to understand what you're saying. It's so confusing. It's so confusing. I can understand about cutting through the illusion, about the perfect of wisdom, but I can't really understand about what is called non-permanence and non-impermanence. And what is it? What is it means that the truth of this phenomenal world? I don't quite understand. It's very difficult. And let me tell you something. This is a sutra that can guide us to the path of liberation. And this liberation is not after we pass away. It's not after we pass away. In this life, you can experience the liberation. It's just how you see the things that you see now. How your eyes see things. We always thought that this is a mouse. This is a clock. This is a banana. Okay? But if I peel off, let's say I peel off this skin, because this banana, I get it this morning, I want to eat it, but I forget to eat it. So I peel it off. I'm not going to eat in front of you. That's not very nice. So I peel it off. I peel this banana off. And do you call this a banana? You won't write like, right. You will say that this is a banana skin. Okay, so I'm going to pull one thing out from this banana skin. Can you see this? Let me show it to you. Can you call this banana skin or part of the banana? Right? All these things, the terminology that we know about this world, basically is the knowledge, which is where we live in. We need to have this knowledge. But when we attach to this knowledge, it will bring us suffering. So how can we transcend out from this suffering? This is what, or the main teaching in the Diamond Sutra. Okay? So, before we end our class, I would like to emphasize this, and I'll emphasize it in the next class. This sutra is a teachings of the supra-mundane world. In our mundane world, everything changes. Every minute, every second. The sun rises, the sun sets, and the sun rises again. The moon rises, the moon sets, and the moon rises again. Human beings, we grown up, we die. Flower, it bloom, and also it decay. And what is this mundane world? A circle? A square? A diamond shape? What is this mundane world? We will discuss this in the next class about this mundane and supramundane world. The reason is because after you're learning on the basic Buddhism, you are going into the intermediate class. You're not going to the advanced class yet, because this is a Diamond Sutra 101. So I'm not going to go into the in-depth, the deepest part of the Diamond Sutra. I'm doing an introduction of the Diamond Sutra. So do not worry that this class is very difficult, because it's the Diamond Sutra 101. And if you have any questions, you can write to me. I'm willing to answer your questions. And in conclusion, this is a sutra about Mahayana, Bodhisattva, Prajnaparamita, Sunyata, cutting through illusion, and etc. Hence, before we get into the teachings in the sutra, you might need to adjust your way of thinking, your mindset. The reason is because you are going to move higher or deeper into the teachings of the Buddha. Think beyond what you learned in the basic Dharma class. It's not throw away what you learned. You still have this basic knowledge in the Dharma, the teachings, but you are going to upgrade yourself further. But do not worry, I'm not going to drive a sport car. I'm going to go slowly from the first gear to second gear, and then maybe to third gear. And if it's too fast, then I will slow it down. And also think beyond the Four Noble Truths, beyond the three Dharma Seal, beyond the Eightfold Path. So this beyond is something that you need to have in your mind when you start to learn the Diamond Sutra. And it's also a way of transcending your mind, transcending it. So in this class, I start with the introductions of the history of the historical background of the Diamond Sutra. I start to briefly introduce about the main teachings in the Diamond Sutra. And next week, we're going to start to explore the meaning of this title called Diamond Sutra, and also the teachings on the Diamond Sutra. So today, we will end our class now, and I will see you next week. 阿弥陀佛。